JBL Charge 5 is the latest in JBL's Charge line of speakers and gives you 20 hours of music playback on a single charge, and you can charge your phone from it at the same time. However, if you've got an older model like the JBL Charge 3, then should you upgrade? And if you've got neither, then should you buy the latest and greatest, or should you buy the JBL Charge 3 and save yourself a lot of money because you can still buy this? Welcome to my tech gear. Let's get into it. First up, here's a disclaimer. I wasn't sent these for review, I wasn't paid for this, I didn't get this as a gift or any of that kind of jazz. I paid for these with my own money, so you will get my honest, was it worth it opinion. Now, I think both of these are great speakers, but there are some fundamental differences between them, which means it's not as simple as get the new one for a recommendation, because there are some features that the Charge 3 has that the Charge 5 doesn't, and vice versa. Design-wise, they are fairly similar. So the old JBL Charge 3 has this orange stamp on the front, whereas the Charge 5 has this massive bold JBL logo on the front. This is their latest design move. You will see the same design feature on the latest speakers like the JBL Flip 6 and the Extreme 3, compared to the older models which all have that JBL logo on the front in the orange badge. Other than that, they both have this fabric surround, they both have these two radiators on both ends, and they have all of the connectivity on the back of the speaker. You will notice that the JBL Charge 3 is smaller than the Charge 5. So the Charge 5 is about half an inch longer and fatter. It's also about 200 grams heavier than the Charge 3. So overall, the Charge 5 is a little bit longer, a little bit fatter, and a little bit heavier. It means that the speaker does feel more substantial than the Charge 3. Not massively so, but it does give it a bit more weight and sturdiness that the Charge 3 doesn't have. And the differences don't stop there either. On the back, this is where you will find all of the ports. So it's covered behind this waterproof cover here. You will find the micro USB port for charging, you will find a USB-A port where it's used to charge other devices, and you'll have a 3.5mm audio jack as well. Now, if you compare that to the Charge 5, on the back you will find a USB-C port straight on the back. Now, that's not covered because that is a waterproof port. So that does make it a lot easier when you're trying to charge it because you don't have to fiddle with a cover. There is a cover on the back though, and that hides the USB-A port, which is used to charge other devices. Both of these speakers are waterproof, but you will find that the JBL Charge 5 is dust-proof as well. So the Charge 3 is rated as IPX7 rated, so you can chuck it in a pool for half an hour and it won't get any water into it. The Charge 5, on the other hand, is IP67 water rated and dustproof rated, so you can chuck it in a pool, but it also means if you've got it on a beach, it's not going to get any sand into parts where you don't want it. And that's a welcome uplift from the Charge 3. Connectivity wise, both of these can connect via Bluetooth to your device. The Charge 3 supports Bluetooth 4.1 and the Charge 5 supports Bluetooth 5.1. Other than the technicalities aside, what it means that you will get a stronger, more robust connection and quicker connection with the Charge 5, and it will also have a longer range. Battery wise, the Charge 3 has a 6,000 mAh battery which will charge in about 4.5 hours. Conversely, the Charge 5 has a 7,500 mAh battery which will charge in less time at 4 hours. And that's predominantly down to the USB-C port on this, which allows the speaker to charge quicker. Both, however, will give you about 20 hours of playback. So the Charge 5 does have a bigger battery, but it doesn't actually run for any longer because it needs that power because it runs louder and better than the Charge 3, which I'll get to in a minute. And to see how charged each speaker is, on the front of the Charge 3 there are 5 dots across the bottom which will light up to say how charged the battery is. On the Charge 5, that is a light bar on the bottom, which shows you how charged it is. And now we get to probably the main difference between the two, and that's the speaker setup. So the Charge 3 here has two 50mm full range speakers, giving 10 watts of power each, so that's 20 watts total power. The Charge 5, however, is very different. It has one 52x90mm bass driver and a 20mm tweeter, dedicated to the high frequency with a bass driver driving the rest. What this does is it gives you a separation of sound and it gives you better clarity to your music that you just don't get with the Charge 3. The volume difference is massively different as well. There is 30 watts of power dedicated to that bass driver and 10 watts dedicated to the tweeter. So that's giving you 40 watts of total power. So that's twice as much wattage as the Charge 3. And frequency wise, there is a slight difference. The Charge 3 has a 65 Hz to 20 kHz range. The Charge 5 has a 60 Hz to 20 kHz range. So you do get slightly better range on the Charge 5. I'm actually going to do a sound test now so you can hear the difference for yourself. stick, you can definitely hear the difference. One of the key features that the Charge 3 has that the Charge 5 doesn't is microphones. So there are microphones in here, which means you can use the Charge 3 as a speakerphone. Plus, you can change the play button on the top to be used as accessing your Google Assistant or your smart speaker assistant. And that is something that the Charge 5 doesn't have. It is a little bit weird that JBL have decided to miss that off their latest line of speakers. I'm assuming it's because they've decided that, well, nobody uses that feature. But if you do need that feature, then you're really not going to pick the Charge 5. Sticking with the Charge 3 is a better option. Another reason why you might stick with the Charge 3 is because on the back you do have this 3.5mm audio jack for inputting external sound into your mic. On the Charge 5 it just doesn't exist. There is no port for a 3.5mm audio jack. So if external audio source over anything other than Bluetooth is a priority to you, you're actually going to want to stick with the Charge 3. Now, whilst you can connect both speakers to hundreds of other JBL speakers to all play the same music at the same time, they do it very differently. Now, the old JBL Charge 3 uses the Connect Plus technology and the Charge 5 uses Partyboost. Unfortunately, they are not compatible. So you cannot connect a Charge 5 to a Charge 3 or a Charge 5 to any speaker that uses the old Connect Plus technology, and you can't connect the Charge 3 to any new speaker like the Charge 5 that uses the Partyboost feature. Now that really is quite annoying, and it could be a limitation and a deciding factor to decide whether you buy a new JBL speaker or an old one. Do bear in mind though that going forwards JBL is not supporting Connect Plus anymore. That kind of is end of life. All new speakers will use the Partyboost feature. And connecting the speakers all together using Partyboost is really easy. You just click on the button on the top of the speaker, do the same on the other speaker, and they will automatically connect. Now, whilst these speakers are very different in that regard, they do actually both use the same mobile app on your phone. So the JBL Portable App can be used for connecting and configuring both of these speakers. They do behave slightly differently in the app though. So because the JBL Charge 3 does have some mics on it, you can set up within the app whether you want the play button on the top of the speaker here to be used to play and pause your music or to enable and disable your Google Assistant. You can also turn the speakerphone function off in the app as well. As well as that, you can rename the speaker as well, and you can do firmware upgrades as well, the same as you can do with the Charge 5 as well. The Charge 5 in the mobile app, as an added bonus and an extra over the Charge 3, has a graphic equalizer. Now, it didn't used to do that, and when I originally reviewed the full review for the Charge 5, that feature wasn't in the app. Since that review though, JBL have added it. So there is a 3-band graphic equalizer. So it's not a fantastic array of configurability, but it's better than nothing. And now we get down to price. So the Charge 5 is the latest speaker. It costs $180 US, although you can see it on special offer with maybe $30 off if you shop around and wait for sales. On the other hand, the JBL Charge 3 is an old speaker. But the bonus of that is that you can get it a lot cheaper. On Amazon at the moment, you can buy the Charge 3 for only $95 US. So it is almost half the price of the Charge 5. So it is a fundamental cost saving over the newer model. And it is still a good speaker. Both of them available in pretty much the same colors. So there's red, blue, teal, black, and gray, although you can get the Charge 5 in a camo as well. So should you upgrade or stick with the JBL Charge 3? And if you've got neither, then which should you buy? Well, that last question is probably the easiest to answer because the Charge 3 is a few years old now, and it doesn't support Partyboost, which you do get on the new Charge 5. And the speaker setup in here is a lot better as well, and it does go a lot louder. Still, the Charge 3 you can find for half the price of the Charge 5, and it does have that 3.5mm audio jack, which the Charge 5 doesn't, and it can be used as a speakerphone. So if those two things are important to you, actually the Charge 3 still isn't a bad buy. So if you already have the Charge 3, then should you upgrade to the Charge 5? Well, for me, given all the upgrades, it's got a higher spec Bluetooth, it's got higher spec speakers, it goes louder, it goes clearer, it's dust proof, it really does have significantly better and louder sound. For me, it was an absolute no-brainer, and I'm really happy that I've upgraded to the Charge 5. I would thoroughly recommend getting one. I will place a purchase link to it in the description down below, so you can go check it out for yourself. If you're after a speaker that's a little bit more smart and still has good sound and don't mind being tethered to a power supply, then I'd definitely recommend checking out JBL's own Link Music speaker, which I've reviewed already, and you can check out my review up here. Thanks for watching. If you have enjoyed the video, please don't forget to like and share it. Consider subscribing if you're not. And as always, see you in the next one.